Hello everyone, Amanda here from the Archer and Olive Ambassador team, and today in this video I'm going to talk about how I use the fun little pocket notebook from Archer and Olive when I travel to keep track of everything important on my travels. Now before we go any further, I do want to mention I also wrote a blog post and made a printable, and those are available to be found on the Archer and Olive website. Now, I travel quite often, and typically I travel pretty lightweight, so typically I don't have the space to bring a bigger B6, B5, A5 size journal with me. I'll do that when I go to work, but not when I'm actually out and about really traveling. So I have started bringing this pocket-sized journal with me just to keep track of the things that I do while I'm traveling and important little details. Now, this isn't my full-on writing Dear Diary kind of journal or bujo. This is a totally different concept. So I'm going to give you a glimpse today inside how I use it. So this little travel book has been my traveler's notebook for about a year now. I've taken it on every trip since last fall. And so I like to keep all the little details while I'm traveling so that I can look back at it once I get home and do my real journaling or look up facts for future trips or give advice, whatever it might be. I try to take every note that I can that I might need later. But a lot of times I also like to start out with my travel info just at the very front because I know I'm going to have this book with me. I put my flight times there so that way if something happened to my phone, I still knew what my flights were. And then when I travel, I like to go day by day. So it says like day one there. Write everything that happens that day and also the money I spend. So if you flipped through my book, you would see a lot of highlights, and typically those highlights are the money I spent. Now for my Europe trip that was last fall, I also started highlighting the names of places I visited so that I could remember them later, especially for like labeling photos and whatnot. But what I really want to show you today is the trip I just got back from. Here, Crater Lake. So I just went to Crater Lake this week, just got back from the trip. And this is kind of how I documented it. It was a short overnight trip. I camped. I just road tripped down from Washington State to get there. And so on my day one, sticking with that format, I wrote everything I did, starting with the time I left home. And all the trails I hiked on that day, all that information is here. And then I also in the corner here have a little stamp. If you've ever been to a national park in the US, you would know that in the gift shops, they have little stamps that you can get and they sell passport books for those. But instead of buying a passport book, I prefer to stamp my journals. And so I have that little memory here in the corner. And then day one continued because memories aren't always limited to one page. You can keep going. And I also like to put the money I spent here. And I have a fun fact in the corner too, just so I can remember it for later. And then this journal is also a good place to I put a list of things I need to get or replace. Since I was camping, there's always going to be something that comes up. So I started a list here of things I need to get and replace for future trips. As you can see, day two, the notes continued. And this is something a little different. I haven't done this before this trip, but I will probably do this going forward. Oregon has really beautiful wildflowers here in the middle of the summer. And so I don't know my flowers very well. I can recognize a daisy, but I don't really know what the others are. So I took a picture of the flowers and printed it off in my little portable printer and put it in here. And then made a note to look these up when I have cell service again, because I didn't have cell service when I was down there. So now that I know what these flowers look like, I have the memory of it here, I can make notes of what these wildflowers were for the future. And like I said, like these books are like a cute little memory in and of their own. Like I'm not just making sloppy notes. I mean, some of them could kind of look that way, but this is something I can go back and look at in the future. So if I want to go to Crater Lake again or some other places in Central Oregon I travel to the next day, then I can come back and look at my notes here and be like, okay, this is what I did last time. This is how much money I spent in Germany on my trip there. I can look up these facts to help me plan future travels or to help someone else with their travel. So there you have it. That's how I use the fun little pocket notebook when I travel to keep track of all my facts and figures and things I need to remember from my travels. I hope that you found this useful. This is also transferable to other things in life. Like if you like to go on walks and look at birds, you could use a little pocket notebook to make notes on that if you want to take, or if you want to draw sketches of flowers when you go into the mountains. You know, this is a good place to do that. These are just so portable. You can just throw it literally into your pocket or your purse or whatever you have. It's just a handy little everything notebook. So again, I hope you found this useful. If you want to see more or hear more, just read a little bit more about this, you can check out the blog post on the Archer and Olive website. Have a good day.